broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20. You're tuning into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
What up, fellow Face-Off fans? Welcome to the finale, the bittersweet finale of AFTERBUZZ TV's Face-Off After Show for Season 8, Episode 14, The Dream Team. If you've not done so already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. Also be sure to check us out on iTunes and SoundCloud by searching AfterBuzz TV. And be sure to tweet us with your thoughts on the finale using that hashtag ABTVFaceoff. You can find me on Twitter at Alana Jordan, as I am Alana Jordan. And today I'm here with my dream team. Oh, by the way, we dressed up for this episode to look like I'm Mackenzie and we're all the judges. Yes. So you're welcome.
I'm Aaron, and you can find me on Twitter at AAMOmusic.
I'm creature and concept designer Neville Page. No, actually, I'm Emma Fyffe. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and everywhere, social media-wise, at Emma Fyffe.
And I'm Glenn Hedrick.
That was a spot-on Glenn.
Thank you. But I am Alexis Torres. You can find me all over the interweb and this beard falling off at atorres890. I can feel it.
And in case you didn't know, I'm V Neil.
just the guy, just a random person.
Yeah.
The wry comments throughout the show let you know that Aaron is indeed venial. So this was the finale challenge, which went immediately from last episode. The contestants had no breathe time whatsoever,
Which,
just
like,
immediately.
sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gotta be intense.
Though Aaron and I were talking about this earlier, that they made it seem like it was going to be a lot more intense than it actually was. Because actually what happened was, though they made it seem like they're like, you're going to go straight to the lab and start on the finale, it was, no, you're going to pick your teams and you're going to come up with a name and start working on your concepts tonight.
Yeah, I was very misled because I was like, why are they going to sleep?
Well, in the words of Mackenzie, as I am Mackenzie, this season's finale is going to be the most difficult one yet. But as Elena, that's not true.
Nah.
No.
This is not the most difficult
It
one
was,
yet.
as you would say,
Garbage.
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 Yeah, in my words, this was a garbage finale. Because here are the reasons. The reason that they said it's the most difficult ever is because instead of creating 3 concepts, they had to create 4.
Right.
However, they were able to bring back everybody, all of the contestants from this season, which was really cool to get to see all the contestants back.
Exactly. Well, and you have to think of it this way. Normally, they're doing 3 makeups with 2 assistants. And this time, they were doing 4 makeups with 4 assistants. So realistically, they could have just sat on the couch and not done any makeup and just had their assistants each focus on one thing.
pretty much.
Oh God. I'm just gonna leave that one right there. We'll just put a little pin in that.
One would think / hope they wouldn't be terribly successful if that was the option that they elected to go with.
However, this finale was garbage. So I'm being a little harsh. It was really good to see everybody come back, and that was really, really cool. And you know, anytime that they bring back the contestants that you've missed, and we were talking about last episode, everybody has kind of their top teams. It's hard to pick one person that you really love for the whole season. There's normally a team of people, and this was awesome because there were people on all the teams, and I was like, yeah, you're awesome. You're my favorite. Also, you're also my favorite. And other teams, so are you.
I did enjoy the Team Jamily reunion that happened. For anybody
what I
who's
was just about to
unfamiliar,
talk about.
Anybody who's unfamiliar with that Twitter hashtag, that is a hybrid of the names Jamie and Emily because they worked together on several challenges. In each one, they were extremely successful. So Team Jamily kind of started trending on Twitter, and Emily's reaction upon seeing Jamie come back was amazing.
It was adorable.
By the way, Jamie was looking fierce on this
I
episode.
know,
I
she
was
looked
like,
great.
She was.
Jamie, you looking awesome
I
right now. Her work wasn't too shabby either.
No.
So yeah, everybody really brought it for this finale. So that was really cool. But one of my favorite things too, anytime they're at Universal Studios, obviously I'm a little biased. This one had an added element of they had all of the finished creations were publicly displayed at Universal Studios, and they had people who were able to fill out ballots saying which of the looks they liked the best. And so while that didn't determine the winner, the judges were told that, and that did factor in as well. So I also liked too in this one, because you don't really think about it. We're watching it every week. These contestants have been gone from their families with no contact whatsoever for months on end. So this one, you actually got to see. They got to make that phone call. They got to see, you know, kind of reconnect with their loved ones. And Logan, of course, called his wife. And Darla called her boyfriend. Emily called her parents. I keep forgetting how young she is.
I know.
Yeah. She's so ridiculously talented to be. I keep saying this, but the fact that she is the youngest person ever on Face Off, and she has pulled out some creations that have just blown my mind. I have to say that's phenomenal.
She's basically run races around our lives. Sprint races.
Yeah, congratulations, and also thanks for making me feel like garbage, Emily. But we won't hold that against her. So let's dive right in to the looks. They were, as you mentioned, Emma, they were able to pick a genre and then also the name of the fictional film. Their creation was they were supposed to make 4 characters that could star in a film franchise and make them cohesive and also make them really fit the genre and fit whatever the title was. So Logan had this sci-fi film, The Fortress.
Which, by the way, I feel like his team. So the way that they picked the titles of their movies was basically they had a giant magnetic poetry board and they were just grabbing words. And Logan's people were, you know, screaming at him like, get Galaxy, get Empire, get Star. And now they come up with The Fortress.
But I will say, though, one of the reasons I liked that it was on that big magnetic board is it reminded me of my refrigerator, and it made me very hungry, and then I had a snack while I watched this. And
Delicious.
it made the whole episode just a little bit better.
I feel like the
Which
story
lets
was
you
going in
know.
a totally different direction, and I was like, all right, she's hungry. All right.
Yeah, I did too. It's like,
Well,
all right.
you know, it was kind of comfort food as the episode went on, but we'll get into that in just a minute.
These fortress fries
So-
tasted good.
Yeah. Let's take a look at Logan as he's applying that makeup. I think we have a photo of it.
There it
Yeah.
is.
So here's him working on the model, and he did have a great team. He had Julian, Ben, Alan, and Gregory.
Yes.
And it was. I mean, I'm going to say it for everybody. It was good to see them come back. But
I know.
Yeah, especially Alan and Gregory, who were eliminated pretty early on, and we didn't really get a chance to see too much of their work. So it was really nice to see them, you know, working here with Logan and coming up with creative solutions. I mean, Alan saved the skunk tail.
yes,
He did.
completely.
Yeah.
Because it was going to be way too heavy with that pole in it. It just wouldn't have worked. So by tucking it in, and it didn't look like it was unfinished. It didn't look like that was, you know, a concession that they made. It looked like that was the initial design.
No, it looked great. It really did. That skunk character in particular was just so charming to me. I found Logan's finished product to be very cohesive.
Yeah, well, the concept was it's supposed to be they're these animals that were experimented on and took over the ship. He had the iguana commander, the armadillo weapons expert, the skunk mechanic that, of course, was saved by that really smart move.
Yeah.
And the hammerhead shark assassin. And I liked the whole overall cohesive look. I thought they all went together well.
Yeah.
And kind of piggybacking off what you said, I love that we were able to see more of these contestants that were eliminated early on, because I honestly feel the best thing of Face Off isn't necessarily winning Face Off. It's saying, look at what I can do so that you can get hired to not just have the one-time prize, but have the prize of continued work. Yeah. Which I feel every single person on this season was just so top-notch that I think we'll just consistently see them working and see amazing things that they've created. But let's take a look at Logan's finished product that he has here, his team that he assembled, which I like because it kind of reminded me, somebody pointed this out to me, it looked a little bit like Logan's Run, which I thought was the ultimate irony, and that it was Logan's team.
I thought it looked like Star Fox meets Guardians of the Galaxy, and I mean that in like the best way possible.
Yeah. No, I totally saw that if they took Guardians of the Galaxy and decided to have like a different crew of prisoners and they kind of went on their own story, I think it would be really great. But also, again, not to make fun of you, when I saw the armadillo, I was just thinking, because I'm such a Friends like fanatic, I'm the holiday armadillo, and I was like, is Ross in there? Like, I was freaking out for no reason.
And then Ross like breaks out some weaponry and is like, also, I'm a badass.
Exactly. Awesome. But I just liked it, and especially like the set that they had in the background with all of them together. It looked very Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, it looked really, really good. Yeah. I feel like if I was one of the lucky Universal patrons who was able to walk out and see that look, I would think it was pretty incredible. Yeah. So yeah, let's take a look at that finished product. That is his full look. It's Logan's look right there. Look at that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. Yeah. I love that they even put, like, I remember that shot of Alan underneath the skunk tail as he's trying to tuck it in. It just looks so funny. Yeah. But the colors that he picked and the outfits really matched the environment. I just thought it was really cool looking.
I personally really like the shark character a lot as well, because I think that that's something that we haven't really seen too much, and I like that it was instantly identifiable to me as being a shark. Yeah. Without having, like, a shark fin and other things you might expect to see from a shark. They went for more of a hammerhead approach, but still, to me, it immediately read shark.
Yeah.
I agree with you too, and it was like you said, it was an interesting shape, so that was really cool. The only problem that I had with it was just like the paint job on it. It was just a little, I don't know, I felt like it was a little rough.
I thought it was a skinned kind of shark, because it looked like there was a little bit of like pinks in there and things. So I thought that maybe like because it was in jail, that maybe that like it's been tattered and has been through some stuff. But I totally agree with you, because when I first saw it, I was kind of like, why is that shark kind of pale? And then I was like, oh wait, probably in prison. I don't know.
Yeah. If you're an assassin, you're not going to look pristine.
This is true.
You're going to look a little beat up.
Yeah.
But my favorite was still the skunk. Yeah, that skunk did not stink. Hey.
Oh my gosh.
First bad pun of the episode. And again, you're welcome. Yeah. So, yeah, I thought this was a great look. If we've been talking about that cinematic aspect, I love that the whole challenge was to create characters that looked like they would go together in a movie. Yeah. I would see this movie in a heartbeat.
I would absolutely see this movie. Yeah.
And I would see the inevitable sequels that they would make of this movie. Yeah. And I would buy the skunk action figure and it would hang out on my shelf.
I would actually like it if they made a plushie of the skunk character. I would like that.
I'm fine with them making it into an animated series at one point.
Absolutely. This could totally be an animated series. We really like to merchandise the creations on Face Off, so if somebody could just give us the money to do that, we will produce this.
Galaxy Armadillo. Sorry. I'm still on that.
If any of our viewers who are significantly more talented than we are would like to make any of these creations, like the Adam video game and the Logan animated series,
or a plushie,
we would watch it. The plushie.
Yeah, I'd buy it.
I'd be 100% about it. These exist only in our brains right now. But still a delightful place to be.
It is. It is.
So, my personal favorite was Emily's.
Me too.
I loved Emily. She did so good. She had the post-apocalyptic, the movie was Paradise Reckoning.
Oh God, such a great name.
Yeah, I was like, that is. Emily, you are 19 years old. You should be making this movie.
I loved her feathers and her hair today.
And though, to be fair, amazing, and this is no discredit to Emily at all, but she did also have Adam on her team, who's a very good concepter and is very good at this particular genre. I can't say whether or not he had a hand in the title, but it seems a little Adam-esque.
I have to say I may be a little biased because these are the most people that I actually know on one team.
I agree.
But being able to see a team that was Emily, Adam, Regina, Kelly, and Jamie.
Amazing.
I was like, did you name it Dream Team for her team? Because the name of this episode is Dream Team, and this is indeed my dream team.
At one point during the episode, I had tweeted about watching the show and I tagged all of them in it, and Jamie tweeted at me, "Oh, what do you think so far?" And I was like, I think all my favorite people are on Team Emily.
It was phenomenal, and they just really rocked out such a good look. They had this post-apocalyptic Wizard of Oz feel, which just the combination of post-apocalyptic Wizard of Oz is incredible.
I mean, it not even just feel, it was straight up supposed to be post-apocalyptic Wizard of Oz, and the idea was they were in this world where people had, been injured severely by elements, and these characters had survived the apocalypse basically by absorbing those elements into their bodies.
It was great. They had this mutated from radiation and fused with metal, glass, wood, and leather.
Yeah.
And having each of those characters just perfectly represent that. Glenn even was talking about her glass character and how it perfectly embodies a broken windshield.
It looked just like a broken windshield. And kudos to the staging on that, with it being right next to the cop car with the shattered windshield, because you could see just how precise that detail was.
And her ability to create a look that looks so much like glass but is fully functional and is able to, obviously you can't use real glass, that's going to destroy your model. But having it look so incredibly realistic, that particular character just absolutely blew me away. That was one that I was thinking, okay, not only do I want to see this movie, I want to see that character's prequel. I want to know how this happened to them. I want to see the whole, and then I want to see all of the sequels. Because these should be movies.
I really loved the chest sculpt that Regina did on the Dorothy character, basically. Let's get real. She looked like post-apocalyptic Daenerys Targaryen, and I was totally fine with it.
I was so happy with that.
That was like my dream. I was like, this is a Game of Thrones post-apocalyptic Wizard of Oz hybrid with what actually looked like skin. They kept commenting on, that looks like real skin. It's so crazy how good it is. And they were just praise after praise after praise for that character. And all I could think was, can I just be her?
Well, they were just extremely well thought out characters. For example, Adam was explaining to the judges and also the passersby, all the invited audience members who got to come see these creatures firsthand, he was explaining that the metal character was wearing armor that protected him from actually dying, and so he never takes it off, and his body has absorbed it. It was just, I thought that they did a really nice job considering all the details of how these characters came to be.
There was a really good variety. No, I was just like, it suddenly stopped. I was like, oh my God, I can't say it. There was just a good variety. I mean, going back to that Dorothy character with rather than choosing to do something on the face, they chose to do something on the chest and then focus on that. And then not shy away from just doing beauty makeup, which was just really, really cool. And that tin, the metal, it was my favorite. Just the arm piece and everything. Cool. It was.
I just feel like if this was made into a movie or a TV series or whatever, this is very cosplayable. That was the first thing I thought of.
Absolutely.
Our apocalyptic Daenerys Targaryen, like I can see like 10 of them at Comic-Con, like in an instance.
Absolutely. If you guys think I haven't already nailed my high heels to a stick as my just weapon of choice, I'm ready. I'm ready for that apocalypse, and I'm gonna look good while I kill some things.
Hey, as you should.
As I burgle that idea completely from Regina. But yeah, it was just such a great, like, this is one that you could see that if it was a real movie would have such an intense fan base.
Absolutely.
That would just get behind it, and if it wasn't just an immediate box office success, would have a huge cult following.
Yeah, especially with the whole like Mad Max, that kind of thing. After all that, they had the God, I'm forgetting the con thing that they have, a Wasteland Weekend. Like, that's just people in the desert just dressing up as Mad Max people. You can imagine taking Emily's makeup and just throwing that out there. It'd be great.
Loved it.
Or Burning Man or something like that. I'm just pulling out stuff. Like, I
feel like you're basically planning our.
Well,
this is the last episode, so we're all gonna hang out at Burning Man trip.
I mean, it is in August or September, so I mean, we can do that.
I will admit, though, Burning Man slightly scares me.
Why?
Because you have
know
no
that they're
water.
not gonna light you on fire, right? It doesn't mean like you're going to be the Burning Man.
I know.
But it's like a city though. We're getting way off.
I know. Here.
I'll tell you after.
It's phenomenal. This was just such a good look, and it just reminded me that I want Adam to do his own book on tape series. Just like
Book on tape.
Yeah, I don't even want him to write the book. I just want him to tell stories into like a voice recorder so I can listen to it and giggle on my drive around.
Yeah, I was gonna say like in your car. Oh, speaking of, I don't know if you can see the red Adam, but that's all you, buddy.
Yeah.
Crimson Wave.
Yes. That which just brings me back to how great this whole season has been and how every single episode for the most part has had a look that just makes you go, wow, I'm gonna remember that one.
Yeah.
And I'm going to think about.
I will say my only real complaint about the Team Emily situation was we didn't get to hear nearly enough from Kelly in this episode.
Yeah,
I know.
What was up with that?
I
That
know.
was weird.
Yeah, they barely focused on Kelly. I was like, hello, I've been waiting for Kelly to come back.
Seriously.
Everyone loves Kelly.
Yeah, speaking of memorable characters, we're
Yes.
still terrified by that redhead.
Stop bringing her up.
We keep bringing it up just to upset
nightmares.
Alexis. She will haunt my nightmares forever, but in my dreams, like, we're buds.
No, like
I love her.
No, I still think she's fantastic, even though she haunts me every night. You know.
That is so funny. They really didn't. I didn't even notice that until you just mentioned it.
It really bothered me.
That's a person that you would want to hear from in this crazy hectic process.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me so mad.
I want them to do a face-off spinoff that's just that team just working on some project together.
There's like no competition, just here's
no
a project.
competition. Just you guys are all amazing and you make amazing things. We want to watch you make these things and go, well, I'm sitting at home eating Cheetos doing nothing. Be like, that's really cool. I wish I could do that.
So basically, we just want to live with them and watch them work.
I would also be fine with that.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we're not creepy. We just
But lock your doors at night.
we just don't want to live in your house. All right, well. So moving on from my personal favorite to, I guess, the audience favorite, they added in that component of how they had the passersby vote on it, and Darla with her fantasy, The Spirit of Eden, which I have to say, that is a phenomenal title.
It is.
I liked it. I liked that
For a
title.
fantasy.
I can see Miyazaki making a movie called.
I was gonna say, I feel like there may already be an anime with that title.
I wouldn't doubt that, but I was just saying that's what it reminded me of.
Absolutely.
And if there's not, we'll make one. Or we'll just ask you guys to, because we don't know how.
Can't do anything.
We have golden ideas.
If someone can make me into a pretty wood nymph, I'd be okay with that.
Looking at you, Lee. Our
know
fan
what I'm
who
talking
makes
about.
things.
That is amazing.
We're gonna. I'm not gonna get into how much we're gonna miss all of our fans. I'm not gonna start crying yet. First,
my
I'm gonna.
my Glen eyeliner is gonna it's just
Your guy liner.
my eyeliner.
Guy liner for girls. So
Spirit of Eden.
Darla had Rob, Stephanie, Anthony, and Daniel on her team, which again, love seeing these people come back, especially Stephanie just blew it out of the water. Phenomenal. So this concept was supposed to be this elemental spirits. They come together to fight the evil that is unleashed after Adam and Eve take the apple in the Garden of Eden, and then there are all these evil that's unleashed, and these elemental spirits of
I must have blocked that out.
it's like a
I must have been making
like
pizza
a-
rolls or something. Like I wasn't paying attention.
Pandora's box kind of
Yeah.
tale.
Yeah, it's so weird.
and so they had this merman and this fire spirit, and
Mermaid
this
Man
like
and Barnacle Boy.
and for Earth it was like this worm around the tree. But the one that really stood out, and I think really won it for her, is this woodwind instrument fawn.
I have to say, to me, on this episode, that was my favorite makeup. It was so beautiful. It was just so perfectly integrated into the bot. And I mean, I would like to go back and see how many makeups won that Nayeli modeled, because she was the model for this. She's a phenomenal model. She, you know, she was the one that was beating herself in the head with the mirror when she was the broken doll that Darla did. She was also the creepy lady in the green dress who was cutting her tongue. Like, she's wonderful, and she really brings it. And just, this character was gorgeous to me, just so beautifully brought to life. And basically, this was Anthony's concept. I just love Anthony. I love seeing him back. He's so precious. Yeah, so it was Anthony's concept, and Anthony sculpted the face, and then Stephanie did everything else on this and just brought it to life. And I mean, just kudos to both Anthony and Stephanie. I'm so,
it was breathtaking.
so impressed.
Now, I have to say, piggybacking on what you were saying about the models, I know I keep pitching these ideas that will probably never come to fruition.
Amen.
But you know how Project Runway did a spinoff where they were really focusing on the models?
Yeah.
I would love for Face Off to do that.
Me too.
Yeah, that'd
For
be
one of,
great.
they've been greenlit for season 9 and season 10. I would love for one of those to incorporate some sort of something, even if it's just online. If they have a web series that's like, hey, here is a behind the scenes look at the models and what they go through and the application of it, because these models really do fully encapsulate these characters and just create the whole, what really draws you in.
That is such a good idea, to have it be like bonus web content.
Yeah.
Because then you're not trying to beat people over the head with it, but then these models, from the people who are really interested in them, like us, we would get to see more of what they go through, and I would really like that.
Would you rather have it like a beard hair confessional kind of status, like not like super like real world kind of, like, you know, with a weird camera?
No,
like,
I would just like a real nice behind the scenes look at a day in the life of the models.
Almost like a web series docudrama.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what I was asking. That's what I wanted to know. I'm like, did you want a confessional?
All right,
or like a
so
I like it. And also, thank you, Emma. I like to think I'm a genius. Normally, I'm the only one. So this ended up being the look that I really think propelled Darla to
I agree.
her victory.
Yeah, this look was spectacular. The other one of hers that really stood out to me, though, what was a little confusing to me about Darla's makeups was some of them seemed to incorporate animals and some of them didn't. You know, like they all were nature spirits, because they were supposed to be the 4 elements. And the wind spirit clearly was a faun. It was a satyr. It was playing the pan flute. Like, it was beautifully thought out, beautifully constructed, etc., etc.
Right.
The tree makeup really stood out to me too. I really liked that one. And initially the idea was that there was going to be a worm wrapped around a tree. It ended up being more like a worm that a tree had grown up around, but a really pretty worm, which Rob, of course, did almost all of the work on this, because he fabricated that entire tree, which was
so
absolutely
pretty.
stunning. And from what I could tell from watching the episode, certainly I wasn't there, but it looked like Anthony did a lot of the work on the cowl and the face of this. And it's really great. I think the worm element was maybe a little lost. I'm not sure what animal this is. And then the other 2 makeups she did, the fire spirit to me looked like a Gollum and Grace Jones and
Tilda Swinton thrown in
there somewhere.
It wasn't quite, this was just, it wasn't as cohesive as the other 2.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, to me, the fire spirit was a pretty makeup, but I didn't get it conceptually.
I feel like because the challenge was the 4 characters that would star in a film franchise, I feel like this one was the Fawn stars and then here are her backup singers.
Totally, and I feel that with the other ones,
It's
the
Destiny Child before the nature.
Yeah, and that Woodwind Fawn was just the Beyonce of the group.
Totally.
And you're like,
Yeah.
you can't even really, you're like, is that Kelly Michelle or is that the other 2 that went away before?
Right. Whereas I feel like with the other makeups, they were a team. In the case of Emily's, I think that the Dorothy character would take a little bit more of a leading role, but I was still really interested in all the other characters around her. And then Logan's, I was equally interested in all 4 of them.
Okay, so I can totally agree with that, because it doesn't feel like they're a team. They're kind of just there.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that until now.
This totally seems like the TV episode that's the one episode that like another main character visits all these characters.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what it
it's like if this was your sort of monster of the week format, or in this
Okay.
case maybe like ally of the week format, like
Yeah.
this fawn spirit would go around and visit all of these other spirits and obtain their powers and become the Avatar.
Hey! But then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
The thing that just kind of blew my mind, even the wind spirit, which is gorgeous. The fawn is phenomenal, and they had
stunning.
And as V said, it gave her chills that they had because they made it an instrument. They made the horns hollow with the holes so that it would look like the wind would blow through and make this musical creature. But even that, as cool as it was, didn't seem like a lead character to me. So even what we are saying would be the lead character that would visit the others, I feel like there's something that's missing, and there should be an additional character that ties
on top
it in.
Of what you said, I feel like there should be a different character that's visiting all four.
Exactly.
Agree.
That's where I'm at.
The other thing too with this one is that it actually has the weakest makeup, I feel like, and then also like the strong, like this kind of the strongest.
Yeah,
but
I totally agree.
The other ones, the other two, like they all were kind of like a team.
Yeah.
But they complemented each other.
Yeah, because I didn't like the water sea.
I didn't care for that either.
It was terrible. Yeah, the merman.
I feel like especially looking at that merman next to the shark on Logan's team.
Yeah.
Just to me, this is so generic, and the shark was so interesting.
Is it just me, or does he blend a lot into the background? Like at first, I didn't even know he was there. I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I just personally, it makes me sad because it's like everybody else kind of stands out, including the other teams. But the one thing that kind of Darla worked on the most is the one that you don't see.
It's the one that blends into the background. And that's what I think bothered me the most, because this is supposed to be 4 characters as a team. It's supposed to be like the A-team, basically. You're creating all of them. Yeah, and so if one of the characters fades into the background...
It's a failed makeup.
Yeah,
I think to me, that nice as these makeups are, they don't all work together, and that I think speaks stylistically about Darla herself, whereas I think that Emily and Logan were much more clear with their style. Like, you could look at a makeup and say, Emily did that. Emily had Emily written all over her makeups.
And you know what, Emma, just so, like, kind of just piggybacking on what you said, it seems like the other two were more involved in the entire process, whereas this one was done by individual artists separately.
And you could totally see that.
Yes, yeah.
This is what
very individual
kind of frustrated me the most with this one, was that I feel like they really... The reason that Darla won was, I feel, because of that one character that she really didn't have any part of.
Agreed.
Yeah,
and so I feel like, basically Stephanie and Anthony won.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I'm
And
like,
to have,
team won.
Yeah, to have your competitors, basically, who were eliminated, be the reason that you win $100,000 and a 2015 Fiat 500.
Yeah.
That is a bit, to me, weighted in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like because this challenge, in the words of Miss McKenzie, is the most difficult one yet, having those 4 characters, it's too much for one artist to physically have their hands on each of those characters.
Right.
Yeah.
So by delegating so much, because having 4 days to complete this, you can't have your hands on every single piece. And unless you have fully constructed the concept or fully worked on a piece, if you haven't really touched it and you're winning because of that, that to me just seems unfair, and that's why I had such a problem with this finale.
I completely agree.
And I also think, once again, we don't see everything that was recorded, but there were a lot more shots of Emily and Logan overseeing the work of their teammates, telling them, no, don't do that.
Yeah, that's completely true. And Darla, there's none.
Well, just from what we've seen of Darla thus far, I just don't really see her as delegating as much and having that clear concept and having that directorial, being the head of makeup for... She seems like she would be someone, again, who would make beautiful pieces for someone else.
Absolutely. Yeah. She is a very capable, practical artist. She's not so good on the creative side, I think.
I think she should not have won this competition, but have been given a job immediately after the competition.
Yeah.
But the fact that she won a competition that I think is so based on concept, creativity, And the whole concept of the show is these are people who could potentially be the next V. Neil, who could potentially be the next head of makeup on a show or on a movie, the person who oversees the ideas. And when you're on a set and you have the director and you have other people giving their, the wardrobe and other people giving their insight, unless you have a clear vision and the confidence to say, this is the look, this is how it needs to look, make it look like this, instead of, well, do what, I'm sure you know what you're doing, you guys do it. It's gonna come out where it's not a cohesive look, which I think is exactly what happened with this challenge.
Yeah, exactly.
And every person who worked on it was brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Nice makeups. They're nice.
They're brilliant. They just don't go together as well as they should, especially for the final episode and for this to be the one that wins.
Yeah.
I will say, I did think this was cool. They didn't show this on the show, but because Darla won, Laura also won. She won $25,000. And Laura is such a sweetheart. She actually split that money with Race and Anthony as well.
Awesome.
So she split it 3 ways, which is pretty phenomenal. I gotta say, go Laura.
That's really cool.
And I kind of feel, I'm not gonna tell Darla what to do with her money, but I feel like the people who worked on her team were so instrumental, not even trying to make a pun on that one, but they were instrumental in creating these looks, and I feel like they should have gotten a portion of it.
At least a small amount. I'm not sitting there as like, okay, let's split it 5 ways, but I totally agree. I think they did like a little bit of something like, hey guys, thanks for helping me win.
And maybe a little extra to Stephanie and Anthony.
Yeah, because they blew you out of the water.
Because that was amazing.
That was incredible.
Yeah, I feel like I doubt that probably happened on that end.
Yeah, I feel probably unlikely. But this was, I will say, season 8, absolutely phenomenal. Let's get a look at all of our contestants who came back. Oh, God. You guys are phenomenal. I am so grateful that we got the opportunity to see each and every one of you.
Can we just stop and say, look at Jamie serving the Mackenzie realness?
First thing I noticed on that group picture was just
I'm telling you, Jamie is fierce.
And I'm sorry, Mackenzie with her little bevel.
I know.
The little hip bevel.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's
I love
amazing.
it. I wish I could pose like that. I can't. I just can't really rock the Mackenzie as well as I want.
It looks so uncomfortable though.
Now, I do have to say, speaking of Mackenzie, I want to jump into some news and gossip.
Yeah.
Mackenzie.
AfterBuzz TV News.
She has her brand new makeup line, the Westmore Beauty Coverage Perfector, available on QVC.com. So congratulations, Mackenzie, on your makeup line. I know we're all really excited to use it.
Does that mean if we use Mackenzie's makeup line, then you just instantly are Mackenzie?
God, I hope so.
I'm gonna be buying those by the bucket.
I'm gonna tell you guys, being the one who dresses Mackenzie, I feel like a poser, because even if somebody airbrushed me and made me look as much as Mackenzie as possible, I can't get the hip bevel, and I can't get the personality and the swag, but at least the makeup will help.
I think one thing we did agree on with this finale is that we love Mackenzie.
Yeah. We love Mackenzie, and we love all the contestants.
Yeah.
This was just such a good season, and keeping with the news and gossip, I am so excited for season 9.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. We've been talking this whole season about how much we love the cinematic quality and what characters would you really be engaged in seeing on screen. Season 9, they're actually going to do that. They're going to have a real movie and have them work on it.
And I think that's going to be a really good idea, since we always talk about, like, we could see this in a movie. And
Yeah,
then, like, now
absolutely.
they're actually going to be able to take the opportunity of not just to learn how to make makeup that really comes out on screen. They actually can look at it and go, oh, maybe I should have worked on that. Or, oh my God, this looks really good. So I think it's really nice to add that quality. It's going to be really cool. I'm really excited about that.
I'm excited to fangirl out over just everything that they make next season.
I'm also excited to make new friends for the new contestants, just saying. Yeah. Looking at you guys.
And speaking of our fans, we gotta say to everybody who leaves comments and who tweets at us, we love you guys. Lee, who has been Lee Burns, who's been making the fan art for us. Dominique Harms was Team Emily. So I gotta say, I agree. Yeah. I like that you're Team Emily. And Samantha Pruitt likes that we keep it real.
Oh, yeah.
I like that you keep it real, Samantha.
Yeah.
I like that you keep it so real that you comment and you leave us some feedback. We like it. And also, I love that Nessa Bell said last episode, again, really wasn't anything to write home about, but she liked the fact that we said so.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, so to everybody who comments, who writes in, we absolutely love hearing from you guys. Please continue to do so. Not only on YouTube, but also on Twitter using that hashtag ABTVFaceOff. We're gonna miss you guys.
I can't believe
so
it's
much.
over already. I'm not I wasn't ready.
Hands in, guys. I'm gonna miss you. You're my dream team. Dream team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Dream team! Oh, we love you guys so much. We've had such a blast. We hope that you join us next season when we come back. And in the meantime, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. Check us out on iTunes and SoundCloud by searching AfterBuzz TV. More than 400 shows. We got something for you guys to watch and listen to before we come back. And then you better listen and watch us too. But again, use that hashtag ABTVFaceOff. You can always find me on Twitter at Alana Jordan, ALANAJORDAN. Where can we find you guys?
And you guys can find me on Twitter at AAMOmusic or on Instagram _AAMOmusic.
And you can find me at Emma Fyffe on all social media platforms. You can also watch me on a couple other shows here at AfterBuzz TV, and Alexis also on Sundays. We do the Transformers Robots in Disguise after show, and I'm actually going to be on the Sailor Moon Crystal panel for the next couple of weeks while Megan is off doing Orphan Black. I'll be on when she comes back, but hopefully we'll be able to talk about it together sometime because she's awesome. I'm just giving plugs for Megan right now. And if you guys want to stay in touch with me and you also like Sailor Moon and or listening to the sound of my voice, I also do a Sailor Moon podcast outside of AfterBuzz. It's called Love and Justice. Look it up. It's on iTunes. It's everywhere.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one that has a lot to say. You can find me all over the interwebs as Torres890. You can also follow my vlog that I do weekly, sometimes 2 weeks maybe, because I work here, at youtube.com/PS890. You can also help my family out who loves, sorry, I can't even take myself seriously with this mustache, VT Elite Basketball, because my dad's been coaching for a really long time and we need to send 40 kids to Miami by July, so help. And also follow me on AfterBuzz as well with the Castle After Show, Transformers, and no, it's FaceOff. Okay, it's too many shows. And BlackHollywoodLive.com, where I do geek, nerd, tech, and talk about video game news.
Again, love you guys so much. We're gonna miss you so much. So tweet us.
Tweet at us, please.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.